Warmest greetings to all the parents and guardians and the Flyer family. I look forward in a moment to answering questions from leaders of our Parents Leadership Council about the university's approach to safely welcoming back our students to campus this fall. Our commitment to safety is not just the strides we're taking to keep our campus healthy in light of COVID-19. It's also the steps we're taking to ensure that all of our students, and in particular our Black students, are safe in light of the tragic killing of George Floyd and the national outpouring of grief and anger over a long-standing pattern of unjust and unjustifiable deaths of African Americans and other systemic racist offenses. UD has made great strides in increasing our compositional diversity and enhancing our inclusivity over the last 5 years, but we must redouble our efforts to ensure that UD becomes an exemplar. We must be an inclusive Catholic and Marianist university where the dignity of each and every student is upheld, where equity across all forms of difference guides us. Drawing on our Marianist heritage, we understand that we all share the responsibility for finding a new path forward, and we take responsibility for being part of this solution. We will be talking and writing more about this among the Flyer family in the future. Today, though, I'm delighted to answer questions from Melanie and Andy Twomey, parents of a rising junior, and Cary and Sheila Stier, both UD alums and parents of another rising junior, about how we're going to carefully and thoughtfully welcome students back to UD in August. For those of you who don't know, the Parents Leadership Council, or PLC, is an active network of parents and family members who work closely with UD staff to advocate for students and increase the awareness of resources through their leadership, philanthropy, and volunteerism. Parent involvement in philanthropy is definitely helping to enhance the student experience and UD's academic excellence. And it's a great way for us to ensure that we do a good job of communicating with families. So now let me turn this over to Melanie and Andy and Sheila and Cary. All yours.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric, for this opportunity, and thank you for talking with us today. We really appreciate the university's stand on equality and the opportunity for all. My question for you today has to do with the start of the fall. In the classroom, do you see any changes from the way the traditional classroom has been in the past, understanding that with the COVID situation, anything can change between now and then? And then the second part of my question is, do you see any change in the semester schedule for this year?
Yeah, both fair and good questions. So let me just talk first about the semester itself. We are looking at an August start, right around the same time that we've been planning on, but really ending at Thanksgiving. So the majority of our students, except maybe some specialized programs, will go home at Thanksgiving to be with their families, and then we'll stay there and finish the semester at home. That reduces risk greatly because then we're not bringing students back from all over the country. We certainly could have students coming back from hotspots. We're planning on actually also skipping the intersession or rather the fall break rather, and also some changes to move in. And this will become more apparent in the next couple of weeks. We want to move students in probably over a period of at least 2 weeks. We want to make certain that students are tested as they arrive and cleared. We want to make certain that students have an opportunity to move in an orderly fashion. So again, that's information that'll be shared over the coming couple of weeks. And then as far as classes go, classes will meet in person to the extent possible, with all classes prepared for complete online instruction to ensure that in case the virus flares up, the pandemic gets worse, that we don't have to have the mad rush like we did in the spring semester. Really all of our faculty already are working on kind of complementary online pieces just in case the semester is disrupted. I think important as we begin to understand that there are these contingencies in place. Faculty will have had additional time then to prepare the hybrid pieces. As far as the classroom itself, social distancing will be necessary in the classroom until such time as our public health commissioner tells us that really tells us differently. For classes that are too large, some of the biology or chemistry classes too large to meet face-to-face, will at minimum have weekly synchronous sessions or face-to-face sessions with portions of the class. So the key is not to have too many people in the classroom at any one time. And the one thing that I would say that really covers all of this, as always, we have faculty who are really dedicated to our students, working hard already to make certain that this semester is really rewarding for students. So I think with that commitment and their passion for our students, even though the classroom is going to look a little bit different, be a little bit thinned out, the experience of students coming and going will be different. The education will be the kind of classic, really student-focused UD education that we're used to.
Great, thank you.
Eric, I know that the university and certainly all parents are concerned about the safety of students as they come back. Could you talk a little bit about what plans are in place for testing, contact tracing, responding to as there are potentially indications of somebody being infected?
So we've been working from the very beginning. I mean, back in February with our local county and city public health commissioner. Really terrific, been a great partner, very, very collaborative. So we've been working with him for a long time and his team. But over the last couple months, we've identified a panel of 6 physicians who work with us to prepare for students returning in August, and then really will be advising us through the semester during our constant monitoring state. So these are really all the right expertise with these doctors, so public health, epidemiology, infectious diseases, emergency medicine, internal medicine, and even sports medicine. So we're really relying upon them to not only help us design the right testing and contact tracing program, but also really help us monitor the state of campus at any one time. And if a decision needs to be made about doing something differently, we have the experts who are helping us. So as I already referenced, we will be doing testing of all students upon their arrival at the university. We'll get them tested, ask them to really isolate themselves in their room for probably the 18 or 24 hours it'll take to get the test results back. And then we'll move forward from that point. We expect that if technology continues to improve, it'll allow us to do what we're calling sentinel testing, which is kind of random sampling of folks, faculty, staff, and students on campus. And again, we may switch strategies based upon the input of our medical panel. But we'll always be asking students to be on the lookout for a variety of symptoms. And if someone is symptomatic in any way, we will test them and be prepared to isolate them or quarantine them depending upon their particular situation. So, so as I said, we do have plans for self-isolation and quarantine spaces that will be supported by Housing and Residence Life. So if students have to be isolated, their meals will be brought to them, they'll be checked on medically, and so on. We also have a special option for students who have particular concerns based upon their health state, really kind of spaces that will allow them to be even more isolated from the campus. So really a whole series of approaches and protocols to make certain that students are feeling safe and secure given their own particular circumstances. And then on contact tracing, we were actually planning to do this ourselves and train a host of students, and we still may wind up doing some of that. But our county health commissioner has said that this is something that they are training people to do, and we'll be able to meet our need on campus. So again, I would say at the top level, we're being advised by really the best people in the region, taking their advice seriously, and we'll move forward on really a day-to-day basis through the semester monitoring and making adjustments as needed.
That's great. Thanks.
Sure.
Eric, as you said up front, Sheila and I are very proud UD alum, and really excited to have one of our daughters at UD now as well. And I think collectively we all appreciate how unique UD's living and learning environment is. And we know that's going to change as we come back and as the students arrive in the fall. When you think about their health and safety and trying to keep the university open, how does student behavior need to change? What are you expecting from the students, and both at the residence halls and in the neighborhoods? And then how can parents help drive some of the messaging as well? Because I know there's nothing more important to the students than to be back on campus and stay on campus.
Yeah. Now you put your finger on a lot of important aspects, a lot of things we're spending considerable time thinking about and working with people, including some students who are on our various working groups. I guess the two overarching things that I would say that I think parents and families should know. One is just right up front. I think we all need to understand there's a lot that's unknown. And as a result, really flexibility and understanding is going to be important for all of us. Students, administrators, faculty, staff, parents. As we've been saying all along, when we know something, we're going to say it. When we don't know something, we're going to say we don't know it. But really an understanding that things are going to evolve during the semester, but also understanding that we need to be flexible. We're only going to be allowed to open the university by the public health commissioner, who has the right to say yes or no. If we agree to really make certain that we're paying attention to the expectations that are set by the state and by the county. So at the end of the day, really it is up to all of us, so faculty, staff, students, whether or not we're going to be allowed to, frankly, stay open. So we're going to have certain expectations that we're going to operate with, and if we are not meeting those expectations, frankly, it puts our status as an open university at some risk. So I'll talk about that in a moment. But to answer the last part of your question, we're just going to need to work on this together. So already there's a group of students who are working on really a campaign to help students understand that it's kind of up to all of us to make certain that, yes, we can come back together, we can be in community together. It's going to be a little bit different, but if we work together, we can stay here through the semester, have a great experience, and really be kind of the true UD students who we want to be. So all that said, it will require some behavioral changes on all of our parts. Some things will be more difficult to get used to than others. It means how students socialize a little bit, how they engage in the classroom, as I just mentioned, is going to be a little bit different, but also in those student spaces that are so important, whether it's a dorm room or a house or in the student neighborhood. So the cornerstone of our approach that's been blessed by our county health commissioner is that each dorm room, each apartment, each suite, each house in the student neighborhood will be termed a household. And when you're in the household, just like all of us over the last couple months, you don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to socially distance. You can truly be yourself without worry. But when you leave that environment, you're now in among people from other households. You're going to be expected to wear a mask when you can't appropriately social distance. We're going to have expectations for hand washing and for respiratory care and so on. So this will become clearer to students as we move forward. There'll be a lot of signage on campus to make certain students understand what the expectations are. But students certainly will still be able to socialize, certainly be able to be together. But it's this combination of mask wearing and social distancing that we're really going to ask students to pay attention to. Because at the end of the day, everyone's health depends upon every single person. So again, that's why I think it's really important that it's not just going to be me telling people socially distance and wash your hands and wear a mask when you're in the right conditions. But it's really going to be students and families and parents helping other students understand, look, my health, our ability to be open as a university really depends upon each of us. So let's do what we're asked to do. But I am confident that getting students on campus, being together with each other, with faculty, with staff, while it'll be a little bit different, it still will have that classic UD feel of community and being together and learning from each other.
Thank you.
Sure. So if I may, I have a question for you. So, understanding that, we've just released, and I think parents will be receiving with this video, kind of the draft plan for the approach we're gonna take, some of the things we've just touched on here. And we're going to be refining that plan over the next couple of weeks based upon input from faculty, staff, students, and parents. I guess for the four of you, and maybe Sheila, starting with you, what's your biggest concern or your greatest hope for this coming semester as you send your daughter off for her junior year at UD?
Well, I think as a parent, like many other parents, my hope is for the students to be able to return to campus life. And understanding that returning to campus comes the concern of the community's health and safety, as well as the university's ability to be able to stay open. I hope the university, along with the students, because as you mentioned, Eric, this does need to be a partnership. I hope that both will be able to find a way to cultivate not only academics, but also the UD community we all love.
Yeah, that's so important, Sheila. As I think about what's really high impact, it is interactions. It is certainly the classroom where faculty are wonderful, but it's also those experiential learning opportunities in the clubs and so on. And I do know there are working groups that are really thinking a lot about how those can still be facilitated. So that's, appreciate you raising that. Certainly something that's going to get increasing focus from us as we get closer to actually welcoming students back. Other hopes, concerns that you want to express?
Eric, maybe I would just build on Sheila's comment. I think this is going to require a lot of patience, right, from all those parties that have to work together, right? And the students, as I mentioned in my comments or my question, is the most important thing to them is to be back together. But being back together is going to be different, right? So I think the hope is that they'll learn as they go along, and the administration will learn as they go along, and they'll work together to find that balance. But it's going to be challenging up front, and it's one of those day by day, I think, to keep things moving in a good direction. But again, with the goal that everybody has of staying together. So
yeah, that's a great point, Cary, that this is a learning experience for all of us, right? None of us have been through this before. So the administration, while we're going to set certain expectations in partnership with the Public Health Commissioner, we're going to need to live into this together. And I dare say every day, every week, we're going to learn about, hey, here's things we could do better. Maybe we can loosen things up a little bit here, and maybe we need to tighten things up a little bit over here. So this notion of communication, I think, is going to be really important. And that's a good point. We need to make certain through the semester we find ways to make sure there's that two-way flow of information, that we are listening to students, and that students are hearing from us where there are opportunities and any concerns as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good point.
In talking with our daughter, the greatest fear that came up with her was, Dad, I'm not sure everybody's going to follow the rules. I'm not sure I should unpack when I get back. So this communicating and gaining the full student buy-in on the importance of the measures being put in place, really a community effort, and gaining the full buy-in and participation of the students. Terrific problem for you, and hopefully we as parents can help communicate that.
Yeah. I think that's going to be really important, Andy. And we are definitely thinking about, it always helps when our students understand, the background and the rationale for something. So, we're going to avoid saying, do X, do Y. we expect we're going to send some things home ahead of time so students understand, here are the expectations, and here's why we're asking for this, and here's why we're asking for that. That it's not just kind of random or somehow meant to punish the students. That it is really, there's science and medicine behind these requests. So yeah, your daughter should unpack. I'm actually confident. I'm confident we're going to do this. I mean, let's not forget, this is a community, this is a university where people really like each other, and they like to be together. And this is again why, you're not going to hear my voice saying do X, do Y. I think it's going to be students talking to students. Hey, let's work on this. Let's develop new approaches. I mean, our students are the best innovators I know, so let's let them innovate.
Great. Thanks.
I think my biggest concern is, our students, I feel, are already full of anxiety. And now with the pandemic and the state of affairs that's going on in our world, I feel that there's so much anxiety. And do you have a plan in place to address this increase?
Yeah, Melanie, I really appreciate you raising that point. So the first thing I would say is we recognize, as you do, that really even before the pandemic, students in college today have much more anxiety, and really there's a need for us to support our students in ways that enable them to be successful. So that's a given. And then to your point, it's kind of it's a challenging world right now for young people as they think about their future, as they think about tomorrow. And just had some conversations recently with folks in student development and health and wellness, and we are obviously going to need to do some new things and probably some additional resources, and then just make sure we're listening to students. If students are expressing particular anxieties in certain areas or expressing a need for more of X or more of Y, then that's really up to us to make sure we respond to that. But it's, we certainly do have on our radar screen that we're going to need to pay even more attention after what's been a challenging number of months for really all of our students. So I really appreciate all four of you raising these concerns, which I think you've done individually, but I dare say represent the feelings of parents across the country and around the world as they prepare in a few months to send their students to UD. So appreciate the opportunity to chat a little bit today. And I don't know if anyone has any final words they would offer before I wrap things up.
Well, I'll just say, Eric, I really appreciate the approach of the university of taking this seriously, bringing in experts, and doing the tremendous work that it's taken to organize the institution to operate under these new conditions. And the care for the students and the care for the community, it's just exemplary, and we all appreciate it. And I know our students are looking forward to getting back on campus.
I think our PLC and all the parents are willing to help wherever we can, Eric. So lean on us as needed, right? Because I think that'll be important as you navigate this new terrain. So,
yeah. Well, thanks to all four of you. Appreciate this time together, and look forward to seeing you on campus in August as you bring your daughters back.
Sounds great.
Take care.
Thank you.
Hires.